Part 4, questions 31 to 40, one word only deyishdi. Agricultural program on Mozambique. Mozambiqdagi agricultural program haqida gaplashar ekanmiz. Keling endi o'qib javoblarni topishga harakat qilaylik. How the program was organized? Muhim. Future development muhim. Chunki environment evaluation and lessons learned juda ham muhim. Chunki bular sizlarga agar o'zlaringizni yo'qotib qo'ysanglar, hayotlaringizni yo'qotib qo'ysanglar, sizlarga o'sha trackga qaytishga yordam beradi. Davom etamiz. O'qiymiz. Mamlakatga to'g'ri out focus on a dry and arid region. Qisqasi, people depend on the forest to provide charcoal was seen as the main priority to ensure the supply of water. Demak, supply of water ni garantirovать qilish uchun nimadir asosiy prioritet qilib ko'rilgan ekan. Bilmayman, lake bo'lishi mumkin, river bo'lishi mumkin, ko'ramiz. Most of the work organized by farmers association was done by fermer assotsiatsiyasi tomonidan qilingan ko'p ish kimlar tomonidan qilingan? Farmer bo'lishi mumkin, worker bo'lishi mumkin, women bo'lishi mumkin, children bo'lishi mumkin, topamiz. Fenced areas were created to keep animals. The program provided for the fences. Demak, programma fencelar uchun, reshetkalar uchun nimadir bergan ekan. Reshetka qanaqa bo'ladi? Wooddan bo'lishi mumkin, anondan bo'lishi mumkin. Chemirdan bo'lishi mumkin, metal bergan bo'lishi mumkin. Ko'ramiz. For suitable crops. Demak, croplar uchun nimadir bergan ekan. Water pumps bergan ekan. Farmers provided labor for the fences on the land. Demak, fermerlarning o'zini yerida fencelar uchun nimadir bergan ekan. Ko'ramiz. The marketing of produce was sometimes difficult due to lack of money. Marketing o'sha bu ishni marketingga qiyin bo'libdi. Lack of maybe knowledge bo'lishi mumkin. Nimadir yetishmasligi sababli money bo'lishi mumkin, fund bo'lishi mumkin. Training was therefore provided in methods of food. Demak, undan keyin training berishgan ekan, food preservation bo'lishi mumkin, noun faqat food consumption bo'lishi mumkin. Qisqasi action qanaqadir. Farmers made special places where could be kept. Fermerlar maxsus joylar yaratgan ekan, nimadir saqlab turish uchun. Bilmayman, where crop could be kept, harvest could be kept. Local people suggested keeping something. Demak, odamlar keyingi mahalliy aholi nimadir keep qilishni suggest qilishgan ekan, shunaqa qilish qilaylik debdi. Enough time must be allowed, particularly for the phase of the program. Qanaqa phase? Before phase, during phase, preparatory phase, adjective bo'ladi bu qism. Xo'p, keling endi shu ishni bajarishga harakat qilaylik birgalikda. Ketdik.
So next we need to think about what materials we want to illustrate each issue. That's going to be quite hard.
That is the end of part 3. I'm in the country of Mozambique. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
No, time.
And I've been set up questions 31 to 40.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
I'm going to report on a case study of a program which has been set up to help rural populations in Mozambique, a largely agricultural country in Southeast Africa. Okay. The program worked with 3 communities in Chikwalakwala district near the Limpopo River. This is a dry and arid region with unpredictable rainfall. Because of this, people in the area were unable to support themselves through agriculture, and instead they used the forest as a means of providing themselves with an income, mainly by selling charcoal. However, this was not a sustainable way of living in the long term, as they were rapidly using up this resource. To support agriculture in this dry region, the program focused primarily on making use of existing water resources from the Limpopo River by setting
river was seen river Limpopo River was seen. They focused on the river to see as a main priority supply of water. Okay. Damn it.
By region, the program focused primarily on making use of existing water resources from the Limpopo River by setting up systems of irrigation, which would provide a dependable water supply for crops and animals.
Irrigation. Shoshmasdan bajarish kerak ekan. Qayoqqa shoshasan? Javoblarni xato topyapman. San ketdik.
The program worked closely with the district government in order to find the best way of implementing this. The region already had one farmers' association, and it was decided to set up 2 more of these. These associations planned and carried out activities including water management, livestock breeding, and agriculture. And it was notable that in general, women formed the majority of the workforce.
Women form the majority of the workforce. Ayollar qilgan hamma ishni. Lazy men. Ayollarga qilingan hamma ishni. Planet carried out activities, livestock breeding, agriculture. It was notable that in general women formed the majority of workforce. Qisqasi erkaklar ayollar tomonidan qilgan hamma ishlar.
It was decided that in order to keep the crops safe from animals, both wild and domestic, special areas should be fenced off where the crops could be grown. The community was responsible for creating these fences, but the program provided the necessary wire for making them.
Wire for making them. Demak, ana bergan ekan. Sim bergan ekan, necessary wire bergan ekan. O'sha fencelarni tayyorlash uchun.
Once the area had been fenced off, it could be cultivated. The land was dug so that vegetables and cereals appropriate to the climate could be grown, and the program provided the necessary seeds for this.
Seeds. Urug'larni ham bergan ekan. Hamma narsa beribdi o'zi. Seeds. Urug'ni ham beribdi. Xo'p, keyword bilmasanglar, vocab bilmasanglar o'qiysiz bu qismda. The community was responsible for creating the fences, but the program provided necessary wire for making them for the fences turibdi. Once again, fenced off could be cultivated. Program provided the necessary seeds for this one. Program provided turibdi, seeds for suitable crop turibdi mana. Shu bilan seed bo'ladi javob.
The program also provided pumps so that water could be brought from the river in pipes to the fields. However, the labour was all provided by local people, and they also provided and put up the posts that supported the fences around the field.
Posts dedi, taxtalarni, postlarni qilibdi. Mana, however, the labor was provided mana labor turibdi, and they also provided and put up the posts that support the fence around the fields. Post bo'ladi bu.
Once the program had been set up, its development was monitored carefully. The farmers were able to grow enough produce not just for their own needs, but also to sell. However, getting the produce to places where it could be marketed was sometimes a problem, as the farmers did not have access to transport, and
Transportga access dostуп bo'lmagandan keyin qiynalib qolibdi marketing qilishga, o'sha marketga borib sotishga, transport bo'ladi. Mana, however, getting produce to place where it could be marketed was sometimes problem difficult in Sudan, workers didn't have access to transport. What?
This resulted in large amounts of produce, especially vegetables, being spoiled. This problem was discussed with the farmers' associations, and it was decided that in order to prevent food from being spoiled, the farmers needed to learn techniques for its preservation. There was
techniques for its preservation degani food method technique synonymi. Its degani o'sha foodni preservation. Shu ovqatda o'sha foodni saqlab qolishi metodlari. Preservation bo'ladi.
Also an additional initiative that had not been originally planned, but which became a
qisqasi to'xtab turinglar. Mana, this problem was difficult for farmers association and declared that to prevent food from being spoiled, the farmers needed to learn techniques for its preservation. O'qib olinglar, tarjima qilib olinglar agar realni tushunmoqchi bo'lsanglar. Javob preservation.
Central feature of the program. This was when farmers started to dig holes for tanks in the fenced-off areas and to fill these with water and use them for breeding fish, an important source of protein.
Fish could be kept. Yo'qol. Fish could be kept. O'z ko'rgangizda tanklar qilibdi. Hope, also the additional initiatives had no original plan, which became central feature. Farmers started to dig holes for tanks, fenced off areas, fills this with water, use them for breeding fish. Fish and protein dedi qisqasi.
After a time, another suggestion was made by local people which hadn't been part of the programme's original proposal, but which was also adopted later on. They decided to try setting up colonies of bees, which would provide honey both for their own consumption and to sell.
O'z ko'rgangizda local people suggested dedi mana. Original proposal which also adopted later on. They decided mana after time another suggestion suggested turibdi, made by local people turibdi, and local people suggested qisqasi keeping o'sha держать, setting up colonies of bees qisqasi.
So, what lessons can be learned from this program? First of all, it tells us that in dry, arid regions, if there is access to a reliable source of water, there is great potential for the development of agriculture. In Chikwalakwala, there was a marked improvement in agricultural production, which improved food security and benefited local people by providing them with both food and income. However, it's important to set realistic timelines for each phase of the program, especially for its design, as mistakes made at this stage may be hard to correct later on.
O'z ko'rgangizda to'g'ri timeline qo'yishimiz kerak. Asosan especially designga dedi, chunki dizaynni xato qiladigan bo'lsak, hech hamma narsa rasvo bo'lib ketadi. Mana ko'ramiz. However, it's important to set realistic timelines for each phase of the program, especially for its design. Mistake made at this stage may be hard to correct later on. Shu bilan bugungi darsimiz o'z oxiriga yetadi. Tushunmagan qolgan joylaringni iltimos tarjima qilib olinglar. Iltimos sizlardan. Ya'ni harakat qilinglar. Sizlar ham ozgina mehnat qilsanglar, zo'r bo'lib ketadi. Kommentlarga qoldiringlar agar muammo bo'ladigan bo'lsa. Sizlar bilan keyingi darsda ko'rishguncha xayr. Bye bye guys. Bye bye.